Okay, welcome back to the next part of the video. In the last video, we had the XR2 closing in on the Earth, so we brought it all the way down to, the atmosphere, and we used the atmosphere to completely slow ourselves down, get ourselves into a relatively circular orbit, and we also were able to correct the 6 point, whatever it was, 6 point something degrees of off-plane that we had with regards to the ISS. So we are now in plane with the ISS, but our orbit needs some work, and the ISS has to catch up to us. So let's take care of business here. Now, there's no way we're going to be able to rendezvous with the ISS before we get back around to our own periapsis. So we're definitely going to have to go over to apoapsis and spend a little bit of energy to raise our periapsis. There's just no getting around that. So let's go ahead and do that now. Of course, now that I say that, that's catching up to me a lot faster than I thought it would. Is there any chance at all I could catch it on the way down? Well, even if I could, the encounter would be awfully fast. So let me go ahead and bring the periapsis up a bit here at apoapsis. I'm pretty close to that point. I was going to use my more efficient way to get to prograde, but I waited too long, so let me go ahead and use the wasteful autopilot. And I don't need to bring the periapsis up by much, just, at least 180 kilometers. But I'll probably bring it up to probably closer to 400. Actually, let me just bring it up to 200. That way I'm well out of the lower part of the atmosphere, so I don't have to worry about, dragging the vessel through. Okay. And now let's see what Transix has to say about setting up a rendezvous. Okay, we'll turn maneuver mode on. And we actually have to decide, actually, it's not really much to decide. We have to raise, we're probably going to rendezvous on that side, so we're going to raise that side of our orbit. That would make the most sense, I believe. So I'm just putting in enough prograde to see that dashed yellow or dashed orange come up to the orbital altitude of the ISS on that side. Looks like about like that. Now I'm going to come over to the date. I'm going to go backwards to hyper. And I'm going to see when is the best time to do that. And maybe not that orbit. I'm gonna reset the date and start over. So TransX is saying that this is a good time to rendezvous, but unfortunately our altitudes are off by 1,000 kilometers at that point, so I disagree. So we're going to keep going forward. This is what I was hoping to avoid. I really didn't want to have to go around several orbits, but it looks like I'm going to have to. So when I set everything up at the moon, my timing wasn't very good. But we're going to rendezvous here. Or maybe over here. Oops. Thinking I might want to make my orbit on that side a little bit closer to the altitude of the ISS first. I think I'll have more luck if I do that. So let me turn maneuver mode off. And where am I at? I'm here.
Translation. Rotation.
I'm just raising the far side of my orbit so that it's closer to that 400 kilometer altitude that the ISS is at. And we'll go with that. That's got us between here and here, so we should be able to find a point now. Alright, let's try this again. And say that we need a little bit. Two orbits, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not working either. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Going to turn maneuver mode off for now. Going to come over to our periapsis and lower our apoapsis a little bit. The difference in time is just too much right now. So I should have stayed in the atmosphere a little bit longer, as not to have to use this fuel.
Translation. Rotation.
Okay, that's retrograde. Let's go forward a little more.
Translation. Rotation.
So many tears being shed right now, having to spend fuel to lower the apoapsis. Okay, let's start with 1,000 kilometers and see what kind of solution we can come up with now. I'm not willing to go around that many times. Okay, looks like it's going to cost us 71 more Delta V to rendezvous, so that's acceptable. Let's pick a point in time to do it. Okay, that says 39 meters. We're going to have a bit of velocity due to the fact that we're coming out here, you know, on this larger, you know, higher pass, and then when we come back in, we're speeding up. So by the time we rendezvous, we've sped ourselves up. You know, a difference in velocity of 161 kilometers, 161 meters per second. That's not actually too bad. I think it's I think that's like 350 miles per hour. Somewhere in that range. Okay, anyway, VW over to target.
Translation. Rotation.
And we said we were negative prograde, so we're going to be retrograde to do this.
Translation.
Okay, we're close to the time to burn. Let's make sure we're rotated where we need to be. Burning in 3, 2, 1. Burning. Okay, now I'm going to turn maneuver mode off, even though I've got a little bit left. And now I'm going to watch the closest approach.
Translation.
And with just a little bit of translation, get it as low as I can get it. And that'll be fine. So we're going to go around once more and rendezvous over there. Let's get ready to do that. Should have all this stuff memorized, but I don't. So it's going to be, maybe I already dialed these in. No, I didn't. 131.30 and 137.40. Okay. Okay. Docking HUD, docking MFD. Transx. And let's go forward. Dock MFD online. Alright, let's go over to this view.
Rotation.
And I'll use burn time calculator as I always do for this part. So I'll put in the relative velocity difference. And we said it was going to be like 161, so we'll put in like 165. And according to Transx, it will take the retro engines. Or rather, according to BTC, burn time calculator, it will take the retro engines 9 kilometers to eliminate that much velocity.
Translation. Rotation.
And we can just barely see the ISS off there in the distance. I don't have any lights on. Maybe if I turn the lights on, it'll help. When we get closer. Okay, we're 15 kilometers out, and we need 9.5 kilometers to slow down using the retro engines.
Translation.
Let's make sure we're rotated right on the cross. Burning in a couple seconds. Started a little early because we don't want to get right up on top of it necessarily. And let's go with that. Somehow our calculation was off. Because we're, like, not close.
Rotation. Translation.
I only started it like a quarter of a kilometer sooner. Weird. Anyway, I'm just adding in a little bit of forward translation. I think we'll leave it at that for this video. We've completed the rendezvous. Obviously, we're only 6.5 kilometers out, so we just have a small distance to close, and then we'll be over there. So I will make the closure and docking video unto itself. If you have any questions about this part of the video, or if you liked it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next part. Control S to save.